everybody. It's us again. It's Monique and Megan from Soapy Smooches, and today I've seen quite a few incidents this week of dermatitis, problem skins, stuff like that. So we thought that we would actually have a little discussion about what is a hot spot, because I think that us as groomers get often asked whether we hurt a client's dog, or whether we did something or something went wrong, and we just wanted to discuss hotspots and what it is. But before I start, is also what I'd like to say is we take care before we start grooming. We actually check the dogs thoroughly, and we're going to discuss just now why, but we can't always get to the hotspot until it's exposed. So Meg, what is a hotspot and how does it get exposed?
So as you mentioned, a hotspot is a kind of form of dermatitis. So what it is, it's a very recognizable kind of thing that you can find on your dog. It's usually quite a kind of red, sore, completely bald patch that you'll find on your dog. And to someone that doesn't know what a hotspot is, it'll almost look like quite a large sort of blister or quite a big sort of rash. And the way that it's formed usually, the most common cause for a hotspot is actually moisture getting trapped under the fur and sitting against the skin. And it's almost, it causes the skin to lose its perfect pH balance, and it forms this kind of really kind of itchy, sore, dry, uncomfortable spot on the dog.
And if a dog is, so this also goes hand in hand with another part of the discussion, is really, if a dog has got lots of fur and it's really matted, often it hurts them and it's very uncomfortable. They can't get to it, so they can't lick it, they can't touch it, but it's hidden under all that knotted fur, right?
Yes, exactly.
And is there a symptom? Is there something that they do that would show the owner that maybe there's something going on under that matting?
So usually your biggest telltale sign with hotspots is licking. Obviously, if the dog has a hotspot in a place where it can't reach, you might notice that it'll rub itself against the wall or against the couch, or really kind of just start showing signs of discomfort by trying to scratch it, or they end up paying a lot of attention to that one specific spot that starts becoming uncomfortable. And if your dog is badly matted, unfortunately, it's very, very hard to tell until you've either done a shave or that your dog starts giving you the signs that there might be something else going on underneath the fur.
Yes, so even although we do our inspections very thoroughly and diligently, it doesn't always show until it's too late, if I can call it that. And then, often I look at things and I go, if this was my dog, I would also wonder. So, that's why it only comes out after the grooming, because that's when the wound as such, or the dermatitis place gets exposed. Yes. The other thing that we have found is collars. How does collars affect potential hotspots?
So collars, actually the cause of the hotspot from a collar is very similar to that of matting, because what ends up happening, a lot of people that do keep collars on their, their Yorkies and your toy poms and that sort of thing, you'll notice that the collar from the rubbing actually forms a form of mat. So you'll often find the matting will start directly underneath the collar because of that constant friction of it rubbing the fur up against the wrong way. And so what happens then is that you end up with these kind of knots around the collar area, and again it does the full cycle, and moisture ends up getting trapped underneath the fur. That fur starts tightening from the matting and pulling hair out, and it again will form a kind of uncomfortable, itchy, dry sort of spot that forms directly where the collar would be.
I see. So the other thing is, now when there is a hotspot like that, how do we treat it? What must a client do or a dog owner do when there is a hotspot?
So usually a hotspot is very treatable at home. I usually don't recommend people putting ointments and things on, because it encourages the dog to continuously then lick whatever you've put on off, which obviously then makes the hotspot worse. But the best thing to do is to keep it clean, try keep it dry. If you're worried about it getting infected, you can just give it a bit of a rinse once a day to make sure that it's clean, and then ensure that you dry it properly afterwards, because that skin being able to breathe and the skin, kind of being deprived of the moisture will then work round to getting rid of that hotspot. Obviously, where you can as well, try to stop them from licking and scratching and making it worse.
Yes, because once it gets worse, it could start bleeding, and then it probably needs a vet, or it probably needs a veterinary type ointment to fix it up.
And you get hotspot sprays and things that you can get from your pet store. So if you find that you're not comfortable treating it at home or leaving it to sort itself out, you can pop through to your nearest pet store and ask them for their kind of options on hotspot.
Over-the-counter options,
exactly.
Like OTC.
Your over-the-counter options for hotspot treatments. If you see that your dog is really becoming uncomfortable and it's becoming painful, or you notice any changes in the hotspot, then rather just get it checked out by your vet.
Okie dokie. And then, this is why also we're going into a little colder patch.
Yes.
Dogs still get hot spots in winter. It doesn't mean that it's colder, they don't get hot spots.
Correct.
If the rain stops, doesn't mean they don't get it. So it's an ongoing thing throughout the year, right?
It does get less in winter, especially for the dogs that they purely developing hot spots from, spending too much time in the pool or from being in the rain if it's been raining for the week. But there are also dogs that are just prone to hot spots, and for those dogs the weather doesn't really affect it, and you'll find that you will be dealing with hot spots sort of all year round.
Yes. So if there is a hot spot on your dog after grooming, it's more than likely a hot spot. If we have groomed your dog, please let us know, but we are very careful with that, and we normally are proactive in letting the owners know.
Yes.
So yeah, that goes for today's talk, right? Anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, just with regards to the collars, because obviously, a lot of people do prefer leaving their collars on, every single day, but just, from a grooming aspect, we wanted to chat about the possibilities of not keeping a collar on your dog when they're in the yard or when they're at home, because it does increase the risk of the hot spots that we've been chatting about, and it also does, make the matting of and the knotting of the hair move a lot faster than it should, which is obviously quite uncomfortable for your pet. Which brings me round to, I just wanted to remind everybody the importance of microchipping. Yeah, and a lot of people still don't microchip their pets. It really is the best and safest way to make sure that your dog is safe if they are lost or they run away, that if they're found, that whoever finds them can track you down as an owner. It is super, super important. It's not very expensive. And if your dog is not microchipped or your cat's not microchipped, I would highly recommend that you just quickly pop them through and get it done.
Thank you. And the reason I'm smiling is I'm having a naughty thought about all those conspiracy theorists, but I'm not going into that.
This microchip is for tracking. You want it to
and it is for animals, so it's not linked to a vaccine. So
no, just go get your dog vaccinated. I mean microchipped.
Anyway, that's it from us, right? Otherwise we're going to get ourselves into trouble here. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.